Okay, so it is mentioned here that next to this 2 to 250 is your async signs, but that would be async. Okay, so async siya. Unsa day inyong schedule sa async sa math?
Paghuman sa math, ma'am.
Ansa, pardon?
Paghuman sa homeroom, ma'am.
Paghuman sa homeroom. So mag-una din yung async din, din sync. Tama ba? So ganina. Okay, but is it okay with you? Would be extend 10 to 20 minutes. Okay, so wala man mo ibuhaton sa async ninyo sa science, di ba? All right. Okay, so noted on this, so chatted, so let's start. Okay, so let's formally start. So let us remember that we are in the most holy presence of God. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, amen. I will continue, oh my God, to do all my actions for the love of you. Saint John Baptist de La Salle.
Pray for us.
Leave Jesus in our hearts.
Forever.
Forever.
In the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right. So I will be calling those who can't able to turn on their camera. See, if possible, you can unmute yourself or not. You can use also the chat box. Okay, for appearance confirmation. So if you turn off your camera by 20 minutes from now, so make sure that you're not away from your keyboard. Okay. So stay dool sa inyong keyboard so that whatever activities that we'll have. Okay? Can I have a roll call? Gerard, Maurice? Okay, camera off. Are you there? Please confirm so that you won't be marked absent. All right. Okay, we have Pandapatan.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Sakari.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Muhammad Pascan.
Present, ma'am.
Okay, Lance.
Present, ma'am.
Okay, so we have here Lumundot.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Bea.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then you just tell me if I mispronounce your name or your family name, ha? Okay, so Maradial Edres. Address. Okay, nag-unmute pero wala ko'y nadunggan. So please confirm, confirmation, reaction button, thumbs up. Okay, so that would be fine. Okay, next we have Ray. Ray Abiso.
Present, ma'am.
All right. Okay, Joseph.
Present, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, good. Hakim, are you there? All right. Okay. So, good to hear panalagsa nga ma-mention o makitaan po na ko inyong mga dagway o inyong mga tingog no madunggan. Okay, so let's formally start. So, I will start with a follow-up. So, as usual, I will always go over your Quipper. Okay, so I would like to commend. Okay, let me share with you my screen. Okay, I would like to commend the following 7. Okay, the following 7 students who I think finished. Okay, so mastered, that means already finished their Quipper activity. So we have Zane, Hernandez, we have Baron here, we have Salia. Mastered means siguro na humananin nila. They had already entered, done in the quiz. Kyla, so we have Hugo. Claire, Claire is modular. And then, okay, so the others are, let me see who completed it or who just started it. Okay. So let me share with you. In progress, so these are in progress, not started yet. So meaning wala pa jud na open. Please do so. Those who are in pink, Okay, completed. So that one I've mentioned. So others are in progress. Okay, so nanay mga 100% and I am happy for those who have completed it even if the week has not yet, not yet ended. Okay, so we have the following. Okay, please kaning mga naka-pink, wala pa nag-start, that means you did not yet able to open or do your activities for. Okay, so please take note. Okay, please unmute. May madungga ng iro. Nagpaghot.
Ay, sorry, ma'am.
It's okay. All right. Okay, so see for yourself. Okay, so we know who have not started, in progress, and even completed. Okay, so let's go to, your essay. Okay, so your essay, just assigned it last meeting, but okay, I have here schedule for submission, so you can submit ahead or so until deadline, that would be December 3. Okay, so next week pa. But I commend the 13. So there are already 13 who had finished who have submitted their essay or their reflection. Okay, so please others do it. Okay, so hinahinay lang good ninyo siguro while naminaw mo karon kung multitasker mo. So while nag-follow up ko, pwede po niyo dalion na ninyo og kuan inyong reflection. Pero taro nga po ninyo so that I may know what are your siguro suggestions and your feelings and your reflection on the previous quarter so that mag-improve po ang ato ang way on how I present your lesson for this quarter and for the remaining quarters. Okay, so let's go next to the Google Classroom. Okay, in the Google Classroom, I have seen that there are 3 who had turned in their activity or their worksheets. Okay, or worksheet kay isa ra man di ay. Okay, so if there are other activities that needs to be submitted today, if we have activity or needs to comply for this session or synchronous session, you can add them. Okay, or if you wanted to change your answer in the worksheet, so I will you can still pwede ba na ninyo sana siya say opposite anang turned in or I will return it. You can request for return. Ma'am, pwede, you can private message siguro dito sa inyong Google Classroom. You can say, ma'am, can you return my file first kay na ako'y gusto usubon or na ako'y i-resubmit or na ako'y gusto i-add sa akong answer on the worksheet. You can do that one. Okay? Or if there are things that I wanted you to change in your answer, in the Google Classroom that you have submitted. So you can also do edit or you can also do additional files that you could submit to me. Okay, so can I see a confirmation thumbs up if that would be fine with you? All right, thank you. Okay, kaning mga nag-off cam. Okay ra mo? O, sige. Okay, so make sure to react. Okay, so let's go to your attendance. I would not go over with attendance because your activity, that would be fine with me if you have activity with. All right, so let's go to Padlet. Okay, so let me open first your Padlet if there is questions raised based on the previous session. So far, maulaw siguro mag-ask kay makitaan ang question. Okay, I'll give you time to think and to reflect on last meeting's session on synthetic division. Now, I will be waiting. If you cannot open your Padlet right now, you can do it in the chat box. Okay, so what questions or clarifications you had with you there kung naamoy confusions, clarifications, and other questions about synthetic division. So I'll give you 1 minute. Maybe you can use the chat box if not the Padlet. All right, let me see. Okay, so here's a question. Okay, so it's a direct message. That means di siya gusto iparead iyang name or something. So ma'am, what if 0 ang quotient remainder po? Okay, so that is a very good question and that will be part of our discussion today. So just hang on there. We will answer that one later on. Okay. Possible ba ang fraction ang divisor? Yes. Okay, another question. Is it possible ba ang fraction ang divisor? Okay, so one of the example of this is if your divisor is 2x plus 1 or 2x minus 1. Okay, if your divisor is 2x minus 1, so if you equate that one to 0, so your x, okay, if you find the value of x, so samahin yung x if 2x minus 1. So that would be 1/2, di ba? Okay, so possible that the divisor is a fraction. Okay, any other question? Okay, let me show you the Padlet. Okay. Oh, wala empty. Even in the other homerooms, because this is for all grade 10. Sir Mike and I collab on this question so that we can know what are the questions from the grade 10. So no questions from the synthetic, no questions in other matters. Wala. Okay. So far, it is good to hear that nasabtan pa. Okay, ang inyuhang lesson. Okay, another question. Possible ba ma'am nga ang isa ka term sa imong final quotient is fraction? Okay, possible siya. Okay, so depende po na siya on your given polynomials na imuhang i-divide depending on the results. Okay, any other question? So did I answered your questions or confusion? So I appreciate those who ask question, no? Okay. If you ask question, that is a good indication that you go over the material or go over the lesson or siguro nag-search po mo. So there are many examples that you can learn aside from the materials that I have given you. So naay daghan kaayo nga pwede ninyo ma-search on that. Okay. So no other questions? If no other questions, then we will be proceeding to our main lesson for today. All right. So let me check your Quipper next activity. Okay, let me follow up. Okay, so in your Quipper, so we are already in. Okay, so we are already done with the synthetic division and you are asked to do this activity in your worksheet. You have to do it, okay, and submit it to me. And then we've already done series of questions and clarifications about synthetic. Now it's time for us to go to the rational root theorem, and some of the questions that you have raised today are part of this discussion. Okay, so there's a material also provided here, and I will also be providing you other links or materials than this after the session, which I also used on today's discussion. So there are why I'm going to give you other links or materials, because there are things in math that are very complicated. Okay, so I make sure that I send you kumbaga murag simplified nga material na makaya ra nato masabtan tanan. So other materials man god are complicated, and other materials also uses different variables or uses different letters, but in fact pareho ra day sila. Okay? So let's discuss. Let me show you my slide for today. Okay, so let's. All right. Okay, so for a while. Okay, so let's discuss about the rational rules. Okay, rational root theorem. So any idea about rational? You can unmute yourself or you can write it in the chat box, or somebody give me an example of a rational number. What is rational? Recall. Anyone? Say madumduman ninyo sa rational. You're very rational, you're irrational. Kung sa math pa, ang sama ng rational. Kung irrational, ang sama ng irrational, di masabtan. Irrational kay ka nga pagkatao, di ko kasabot nimo. Di ko ka-define nimo. Di yun ka ma-define, wa kay meaning. So inaana ba ang irrational? Kung rational, meaning masabtan ra. Okay? So tama ba? Please confirm. Or any other idea about rational? Please unmute yourself if you have idea on that. Hello, are you there? Hindi maningog. Sa maning, okay, sige, mag-call na lang ko. So, especially ka ng mga naka-off cam dira, no? Dali-dayin mo on sa inyong cam, kay tawagon ta mo ka ng naka-off cam. Sige. Save by City Yasmin. Okay, City?
Para sa ako, ma'am, it includes positive, integer, decimal, fraction.
Okay, integers. Okay, decimals. Okay, we have fractions. Okay, actually, you're correct. Okay, so those are examples of the mga rational numbers. Okay, now let's go to our objectives. Okay, so or your learning target for today. Learning targets for today are the following. So you can correctly identify constant terms. So take note of the highlighted na mga terms or mga words. Okay, by the way, no need for you to screenshot this material because this will be forwarded to you in your Google Classroom under material quarter 2. Okay, and then you can list down all the possible factors. Okay, so you have mentioned kaganina integers and then rational roots. So we will be discussing more on rational roots or roots of the given polynomials. Okay, and of course, we just have to kanang pause for a while for the real life problems. I think we cannot cover it right now. So maybe this objective rather won't be possible. Okay, so let's go to your guide questions or essential questions. So how can you identify the constant, the leading coefficient in a certain polynomial? Or how can you find the possible roots of the given polynomial? And how can you factor a given polynomial using the rational root theorem? So these are the main focus of our discussion for today. So this may cover siguro in a real face-to-face class. So this will cover mga 2 weeks and we will just cover this one in one session. So that's why I am asking you favor to just hang with me and have a siguro mga 10 to 20-minute nga extension for our discussion for this para masabtan pag yun ninyo, and I can also present it to you in a simpler manner. Okay, let's focus first on this lesson on zeros of polynomials. Okay, I have mentioned a while ago roots. Okay, so actually as math teachers, we can present this one to you in a different terms, but actually they are just the same. So roots, okay, roots, zeros, solution, kani sila nga mga terms, they are just one. Okay? So pariho ra na silang tanan, pariho ra na silang tulo. Ma'am, nganong lahi-lahi man siya o sa math na ilahi-lahi kag tawag. So depende na siya manggod sa inyong theorem, depende pod na siya sa, it depends also on how the concepts are presented. Okay? So but we are just talking about one. Okay? So mga synonyms na sila sa math. Do dili gyud sila synonyms nga pareha sa English ha. Kung ang English na ay synonym, so ang math na apoy synonyms. Okay? We are just talking about. Okay, in finding the roots of the polynomials or the solution. Okay, so we're talking about the solution. You need to have the following stock knowledge. So kung may kag stock knowledge, what you have learned from your previous year levels. Okay, so you have to know how to solve linear equations, how to solve quadratic equations, how to factor, and how to use, of course, synthetic division, which is we discussed or we presented or I presented to you last synchronous session. Okay, so synthetic division. Okay, do you still remember how to solve linear equation? Or nakalimot na? Thumbs up. Katong, siguro maingon ta mga naa sa 60% and up, remember how to solve linear equations. Thumbs up daw, B. Kaya kinahanglan ni siya ani, oh, walay nag-thumbs up. Oh, okay na ay isa. Si Lara ang nakahinomdom. Linear. Okay, linear equations. Tagay kog example of linear equations. I can use a chat box. Walay mag-volunteer. Ako yung mag-volunteer sa inyo. Sige. Na Google. Google na yun. Dali. Okay, who can give me example of a linear equation? Use your resources. Okay, here's chat. According to one of your classmates, 2x. Okay, so I'll be writing here 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. Agree, disagree? Okay, agree, disagree. Another one. Okay, gay kog isa pa ka example. Okay, daghan na. Oh. Okay, so daghan na. Okay, so good. So kanina lang siya. Linear equation, 3x minus 1 plus z is equal to 3. Okay, good. Remember pa di ay. Okay, or thank you to Google. Okay, so salamat Google. Okay, so these are the linear equations. Okay, so linear siya. Why would we call it linear? Okay, so anong gitawag nato siya og linear? Because what is the behavior of its graph? Say behavior sa iyang graph. From the word. Okay, line. Diba? So let's say for example, we consider 2x negative 3. So unsay behavior sa iyahang, or when we plot this one in the graph, so we need to know the value of x so that we can know asa ang line nag-intersect sa iyahang x-axis. So that ang x ani is, unsay x ani, so we have 3 halves, right? So we know that kani nga graph, ang x niya is naglie on 3 halves. Okay, so linear equation, line siya, okay? So linear, okay, so we have that one. So this is a good example sa linear equation. Okay, now let's go to, klaro na ha, linear equation, so line, ang iyang degree is, highest degree or highest exponent sa iyang variable is 1. Okay, so 1, 1, 1. Okay, so check linear equation. But this one, ang linear equation, napo na siya 2 types. Okay? Unsay 2 types sa linear equation? So kani siya, 1 variable. Okay, linear equation in 1 variable. This one, linear equation siguro ni siya in 2 or more variables. Okay, so daghan ni siya variable. Okay, so we have so okay na to sa linear equation. Let's go to quadratic. Quadratic. So what do you mean by quadratic equation, or can you still remember quadratic equation? Anyone? Examples? Okay, sige, quadratic. Okay, there. Okay, so now it says here, so we consider this one. So we have 6x squared plus 11x minus 35. Okay, equals 0. In short, okay, you're correct. 2 ang highest nga degree, or 2 ang iyahang highest nga exponent sa iyahang variable. Okay? So, naka-remember na. So, unsay possible na behavior sa iyang graph? What's the possible behavior of the graph? Okay, so I will be giving you an example of this one later on. Okay, para ma-remember. Okay, factoring. Okay, so factoring on what? Okay, factoring the quadratic equations. Okay, so you have to remember and you have to recall on how to factor. Okay, factor polynomials. Okay, so I will also be giving you a little bit of view on or review on factoring. And of course, synthetic division, this is already done. Okay, so let's proceed. Any questions on this? Again, you will have your overview on how to find the roots. You have to make sure that you know all of this. Okay, so in the polynomial, finding the root of the polynomial rather. So this is the graphical illustrations. So usually, if the degree is 2, so of course, duhara ng point of intersection dira sa inyuhang graph. But if it is this one, since there are 3x, or so 3 values of x, or 3 kabukyang points, so that means tulo pod kabuok ang iyahang solution, tulo kabuok ang iyahang roots, tulo kabuok ang iyahang zeros. So that means kung quadratic, duhara iyahang solution, duhara ang value sa x ang imuhang makita. Okay, so you will know that one later on through the other presentation. Okay, so let's remember this one, quadratic equation. What kind of graph is this? Say tawag ani nga graph. Still remember this? Okay, mention here parabola? Question mark, not sure. You are sure. Okay, so be confident of your answer. Yes, this is parabola. Okay, so the graph of quadratic equation or solution of the, let me tell you on the overview on this kind of graph. So kani siya, okay, so the first picture, the first parabola, so ang iyahang wala natandog or wala nag-touch. Wait lang for a while. Okay. Okay, sorry. Okay, give mute. Okay, so that means, so what you notice in the graph on the first picture or the first image is wala na-touch, wala naka-touch sa x-axis. So this is the x-axis, right? So that means this example of an equation, or what you call the quadratic equation, has no solution. Okay? Wala siya solution, wala siya roots, wala siya zeros, wala siya value sa x. Okay? Wala value sa x, so wala x. Okay, okay. Wala man siya roots, point of intersection on the x-axis. Okay? So there are polynomials that considers has no solution. So wala siya solution. Solution means masolve siya, pero solution means wala siya roots, wala siya zeros. Okay. Now, on the second image, so what you see here, naa siya, nag-intersect siya on the x-axis. How many times? Kapila. Kapila siya na-touch sa x-axis. That is the x. Once. Okay, so kaisa lang, di ba? So therefore, this graph has one solution. Okay? So isa ra yang roots, isa yang solution, or isa ra pud iyang zeros. Okay, now next, the third graph. Okay, you notice. Okay, so ikapila siya nag-intersect sa x-axis. So, ikaduha. Okay, so meaning this graph has two roots or two solutions. Okay, nakuha. While the other graph that I have shown you in the previous slide, this graph or this equation, polynomial equation, has three solutions. Okay, or three roots. It's because ikatuluman siya nag-intersect sa x-axis. Okay, that is the behavior, mo na ang mga behavior sa mga polynomials. Okay, so kung ang linear, sa isara na siya, kaisara pud na siya mutouch sa graph or sa x-axis. Okay, let's try to have this one. So, you have mentioned kaganina is the quadratic equation is 2 ang highest degree. Okay, so you are correct. Now, factoring. Okay, look at this equation or look at this polynomial equation. Okay, an example of polynomial equation. So, you review your factoring. When you factor this out, that would result to this. So, kaning nasa taas, right? Diba? Kung inyong i-factor, you still remember that? Okay. Now, kung imo ni siyang i-evaluate this, if you're going to evaluate this one, that would result to a polynomial equation. Now, how are you going to plot this? What is the unsay itsura ani sa graph or unsay behavior ani niya? Okay, so to know the behavior of this equation, you need to equate this two zeros. So get or you have to get the what you call the possible roots or the possible solution. Okay, so x would be equal to 3 and then equate to 0, and also x plus 5, that would also be equal to 0. So your x here would be 3 and here would be -5. So this equation or this polynomial equation, how many ang iyahang roots? Roots or solution. So naa siya 3 and -5. Okay? So this is the roots or this is the solution. What is the itsura? Unsa itsura niya sa graph? So when you plot this x values, this one, so that would be 3 here, and then negative here, and then unsa gay ng quadratic, unsa iyahang behavior sa iyahang graph, di ba? Parabola man na siya, basta quadratic. Okay, parabola. Is it opens downward or opens upward? Saan niyo madumduman? Up. Okay. Please na nakadumdum. Okay. Up siya. Good. Very good. Why? Unsay indication na upward ni siya nga parabola or graph. The behavior of the graph of this equation is parabola opens upward, where their x or their roots intersect at 3 and -5. Refresh, kuan pa ni ha, recall pa ni. Okay. You need this one para masabtan ninyo ang polynomials, getting the polynomials or root theorem. Okay, sige. So look at the leading coefficient. Leading coefficient. Is it positive or negative? Okay, positive. Okay, very good. Kung ang leading coefficient niya is positive, that would be upward. Okay, kung negative ang leading coefficient, that would be downward. So kung positive 1 man siya, so meaning ang parabola, the behavior of the parabola is open upward. Okay, so this equation or this polynomial, it has two roots or two solutions. Okay? Because, okay, so ang graph nag-intersect siya sa duha ka points sa x-axis. Okay? Sabtan. So again, atay duha ka solution. Okay? So 3 and -5. That would be the solution. Okay. So is x minus 3 a factor of x squared plus 2x minus 15? Yes or no? Okay. Write your answer in the chat box. Again, is x minus 3 a factor of x squared plus 2x minus 15? What is your answer? Yes or no? Type Y, yes, and no in the chat box. Again, question. Kani ba daw x, okay, isa na to tanan ha. Okay. X minus 3, factor ba daw siya ani? Yes or no? One of the factors ba siya ani nga equation? Okay, majority said yes. Of course. Okay? So kay kaning x minus 3 and x minus 5, when you multiply them, that would give the result of this equation. So factor siya. Okay? So even the x plus 5 are also factor of. Okay, so please remember that one because that would also be used later on the theorem. Okay? Now let's go over. Okay, let's go back. Any questions, clarifications on the behavior of the graph? Okay, I assume none. So let's proceed. All right. Okay, so take a look at this. Okay, so I have mentioned earlier kaganina. So just a few reminder on the leading coefficient because this is part of your targets, and then you have your degree. Okay, so leading coefficient of this polynomial function is -2. Okay, degree, the highest exponents of the variable is 5. Okay, take note on the last example. Okay, so if we can consider 14, this one, a polynomial function. Okay, because naa siya one term, and this term is what we call, okay, this is constant, right? Okay, so constant, if constant lang ang naa sa polynomial function, that would only be one term. And then the leading coefficient is 14 because we consider 14 as also a coefficient. Why? Because it is considered as x to the 0. Okay? And any number raised to 0 that would be equal to 1. Okay? So 14 times 1, that would also be 14. So the highest degree or the degree of that polynomial function is 0. Okay, so take note on that. Okay, so let's go with this example and also the behavior question. Okay, unsay pasabot anang degree. Okay, let's go back. Good that you have question. Degree means the highest exponent on your leading variable. Okay, so let's say for example, in the first example, kanin siya 5. Okay, so the degree also is 5. Degree is katong pinakadako nga exponent sa inyuhang variable. Okay, in other words. Okay, okay na ta? Okay, so good to know nga you have to know also the terms. Okay, so finding the zeros of the polynomial by factoring. Okay, so you will know the details of this later on, but I will just going to show you some of the examples. Okay, sometimes there are polynomial functions na not factorable. They are not factorable. Okay, so that is why we are going to use a special method, okay, to get their solution or to get their roots or to get the possible factors. Okay, so take a look at this example. So since dili siya factorable, na special method to use that one. So by factoring, these polynomial functions are being factored here. So by getting their common, okay, kumbaga, common nila nga mga factors or the GCF, okay, the greatest common factor of all the terms. So that means it resulted into x squared is just because, okay, so ang iyahang GCF is x square. So that means si x square, pwede nimo siya ma-divide sa tanang terms. This is the greatest common factor. Now, if we're going to factor that out, x square, divide nimo x square, and then you have x square. So this will result into x square. Okay, x square. So i-factor na nato minus x minus 2. Okay, right? And then, this functions or this equation nga naa sa sulod sa parenthesis are already factorable. Okay, so mo na ni siya ang result on x plus 2 and then x minus 2. Okay? All right. Questions? Clarifications? Okay, so therefore, the roots or the possible zeros of these polynomial functions are 0. We have x is equal x squared, this one. Okay, and then x plus 1 and then x minus 2. And then ang iyahang roots or ang iyahang zeros or ang iyahang solution is 0, -1, and 2. So you have noticed, class, that this has 3 solutions. So that means when you plot it in your in the graph, ang graph is nag-intersect siya ikatulo sa x-axis. So this is the behavior of the graph. Okay, so that is how you're going to find the possible roots of the polynomial. Okay, question. Okay, so far wala. Okay, so talking about finding zeros or finding roots of the polynomial, these are if the factors or if the polynomial function rather is not factorable, kung dili siya ma-factor, like this kind of polynomial functions, there are special theorems na atuang gamiton. Okay, we're going to use a special theorem or theorems if that certain polynomial functions dili siya factorable, and that is what we are going to do today. Okay, so there are polynomial functions na lisod or siguro not factorable. Okay, so just like these 3 examples that I have presented to you. So these 2 theorems will help us out easily on how to get the zeros or the roots of these polynomial functions. Okay, so but before that, let's have an overview on the remainder theorem. Okay, unsa day ng remainder theorem? So remainder theorem is if the polynomial, so ang other reference ani or book, so in ani yang pagkasulat sa function and divided into x. I think your study guide K ang gigamit instead of C. But they are just the same ha. Parihara na sila. Terms ray gikuan. But we will just be stick to K kay murag mo anay majority. Okay, so again, parihara na sila. Please take note. Okay, giusab-usab lang na siya. Okay, so in other words, your polynomial function, any polynomial function, okay, remainder theorem if, okay, if your fk, that would be equal to r. So of course, lisod kay siya sabton, okay? But if we go to example, you will know it later on. Okay, so it's very complicated to present you this one. But if we go to example, then you will know it later on. Okay, so this is remainder theorem example. So this is a function, polynomial function. Example of the polynomial function. X cubed minus 3x squared plus x minus 2. Using the remainder theorem, we will find f negative 3. So f negative 3, that means this is our k or this is our c. Okay? So that means we are going to find kung unsa ang iyahang r or unsa iyahang remainder. So kaya unsay but pasabot ani. Okay, so using the synthetic division, we are going to try, okay, pause for a while. So, if 0 ang remainder, ma'am, factor root theorem ang gamiton. Okay, so you will go to that later on. Okay, so I will answer your question later on. Okay, so remainder theorem, again, this is remainder theorem. If you're going to use the synthetic division to this, that means i-test nato ang negative 3 as your divisor. Okay, so that means this will be your divisor, negative 3 here, that is negative 3. And these are the coefficient of your polynomial function, 1, negative 3, 1, negative 2. And then by doing the synthetic division, you noticed here that there is a remainder. Okay, so nasa remainder. So that means this example is an example of a remainder theorem. Why? Because ang iyahang f of k is na ay remainder. Okay? So, naisobra ang iyahang divisor. So, dili siya perfect. Dili siya match ani nga polynomial function. So, this is a remainder theorem. Okay? Nasabtan ang remainder theorem? Okay, another question? Okay, ma'am, kanusa gamiton ang duha ka theorem? Actually, ang tagsa-tagsa ra gyud inyong gamiton ani class. Dili na siya pwede magdungan. Okay, depende sa unsa ang gipangayo sa inyong equation or sa inyong function rather. Okay? So this is the remainder theorem. If walay remainder, now let's go. The question, ma'am, if walay remainder, say tawag. If walay remainder, that would be the next theorem. Okay? So next theorem, that factor theorem. Okay, so let f of x be your polynomial function. So in other books, so again, this is p of x, other term for polynomial function. So if fk or f c is equal to 0, so mo nini yung gimin kaganina. So factor theorem siya if the polynomial functions, ang iyang remainder is 0. Then therefore, okay, your divisor, mo manin yung divisor, right? Your divisor is a factor of your polynomial equation. Okay, your polynomial function. So therefore, factor theorem siya. Gamitan siya ang factor theorem. Of course, this meaning is so complicated without an example or illustration. Okay, so let's have an illustration. Okay, let's show. Okay, so this is the form of the problem when we use factor theorem. Let's show x plus 2 as a factor of, we are going to verify. So when you say show, you will verify it. Okay, you will verify it if kaning si x plus 2 is a factor of this polynomial function. So again, kanusa siya mahimong factor if, look at the synthetic division, if the remainder is 0. Of course, dili siya remainder theorem. Wala kag-apply og remainder theorem here. It's just because wala man siya remainder. So this is a factor theorem if the remainder indicates 0, okay, or equal to 0. Okay, so see what's the difference between the two theorem. Okay, nakuha? Okay, so let's proceed to more examples. Okay, let's verify. Okay, what about this? Let's verify or show that, okay, so x plus 1 is a factor of this polynomial function. Okay, I want you to try that one. Okay. Okay, try it. If factor ba siya? Okay, just type yes or no. If you're done verifying, then I won't ask you to justify it already. Okay, dili na nata mo i-ask to justify. Just confirm if this is a factor or okay. So it says here no. So nanay nag-answer og no. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so let us see. So using the synthetic division, so you can confirm, okay, if that is a factor. So you will know if that is a factor if the remainder is 0. Okay, if na gani remainder, that means this is not a factor. Okay? Oh, na niingon og yes, napoy niingon og no. Okay, so I need one kay para inside majority. Okay, so 2 yes, 1 no. Okay, up to no. 2 yes. So another remainder. Okay, so let's see. Is that I included that one in the next slide? Let me see. Okay. Here. Okay, here is the solution for that problem. Okay, so therefore, so using the synthetic division, we can verify if these polynomials are factorable of this another polynomial function. Okay, so the remainder is 6. Okay, sakto ang giingon, but negative 6 lang iyahang kuan o positive. Okay, so you have to be very careful, ha? Okay, very careful with your symbols, okay, or your signs. Okay, so therefore, it's not factor. It's not a factor. Okay, so meaning, unsay meaning ani, kung dili siya factor, that means dili pud siya solution. Okay, so that means when you test your possible root, so kani siya mahimo naman ni siyang negative 1. So that means ang negative 1 is not possible solution ani nga function. Si negative 1 dili siya roots ani nga function. Okay? This is not the root. This is not the solution. It's because naaman siya remainder or dili man siya factor. Gi-prove na nimo using factor theorem. Okay? Nasabtan? Okay, okay pa ta? Okay, so let's proceed. Okay, let's proceed. So this is now the proof of the rational root theorem. So when you look at this one, oh, sa man na ma'am, uy, murag di ko kasabutan na, murag dili kay siya masabtan. Okay, see? So different ang iyahang pagka sa paper manggod is p of x, pero this is f of x. Okay, so parihara na siya. So this is the leading term. Okay, so kung sa madaling salita, kung taga na to example, ana ra na siya class 2x to the 1, 2, 3, 4. Example, 4 inyong highest. O, naran na siya. Plus, na kay leading coefficient. Okay, so siguro mga x cube plus 2x square plus x plus, okay, 3. Okay, and x sub 0 is your constant, which is this one. Okay, sa madaling salita. Okay, so for short. Okay, so we're going to use this one example or this root theorem. Okay, what is a rational root theorem? Okay, blah, blah, blah with the definition. We'll go directly to the example. Okay, so these are the examples. Using the factor theorem, we will find the solution. Okay, again, unsa ganang solution? We'll find the roots, we'll find the zeros, or we will find if unsay mga possible na factor ani nila. Okay, or iyahang solutions. Okay, so first step. Okay, find candidates of possible roots or solution ani nga polynomials. How? First step. Okay, take note. Get the leading, okay, get the factors of the leading coefficient. So, mo ni siya ang leading coefficient. Okay, kani nga steps na ani dira sa inyong paper. Coefficient and the constant. Okay? So get the leading coefficient and the constant. So that would be the factors rather of the leading coefficient and the leading constant. Okay, so factors of 2 are -1, negative positive 1, and negative positive 2. Factors of 3 is negative and positive 1 and negative positive 3. Okay? Please stick to this example. Ayaw sa mo adto anab nitong na IP o Q. Kay maglibog mo. Okay? So, ma-confuse mo. Okay? So, please stick to this illustration yet. Okay? So, kunya nata mo kuan anan sa inyong. I will just give you ika ng simplest possible na makita nato ang roots. Okay. So, what are you going to do with this possible kaning factors? So, kaning mga factors nga gilistaw nato from the leading coefficient and the constant, mo ni siya ang atuang i-test. Mo ni mga possible, meaning possible pa ha. So, dili pa ta sure. So, what we're going to do, let's test that one. Okay? So, take a look at this one. Okay, let's test it. Okay, so second step is you need to test first the -1 using the synthetic division. Okay, how will you know if it is solution or if it is roots? If the remainder will become 0. So, kani siya, -1 natong gitest, using the synthetic division, na remainder, which is 12. Okay? So, that means x is equal to -1 or -1 is not a solution. Okay? So, dili siya solution. Or dili siya factor. Kung ikuan nato siya into x is equal to 1 is not, or x plus 1 rather, okay, x plus 1 is not a factor of that polynomial equation or function. Okay, sorry. Okay, let's go to positive 1. Okay, 1. When you test 1 using the synthetic division, this will give you, of course. So, nag-0 na imuhang remainder. Okay, so that means 1 is a possible solution, or 1 is a 0, or 1 is a root of this polynomial function. Okay, kuha? Okay, klaro? Unsa to? Sa to yung first step? Okay, first step. Unsaon pagkuha sa solution? Okay, so get the leading coefficient, i-arrange, of course, i-arrange na ninyo inyuhang polynomial into decreasing degree. So make sure to arrange, okay? So get the leading coefficient and then the quotient. Get the factors, okay? Pag umagkuha sa factors, and then list down all the candidates, okay? Ang mga candidate for possible solution are -1, 1, negative positive 2, and negative positive 3. Okay, So, mo ni siya ang mga candidates. And then test, trial and error. Test it. What if tanan na ay remainder? Wala na siya solution. Wala siya giingon og no solution. Okay? Kung naman nakag-test tanan, wa jud ning gawas na solution. Okay? So, meaning, pero impossible na siya lang ga. So, impossible na siya nga wala siya solution. Okay? Or wala siya, or walay mo zero ang iyang remainder. Okay, next step, you can use synthetic division to test if that is a solution. O kung na remainder, that is x. Dili, wala siya. Meaning wala siya labot sa solution. Siya labot sa roots. Wala siya labot sa possible na zeros. Okay, and then, if naay mo gawas na bisan isa lang, okay, bisan isa lang. Like say for example, 1. 1 is the possible solution. Okay, so nanatay na test nga 1. So check ang 1. So what's the next step? Next step is, okay, you can use synthetic division, so that would be already done. So this is x, and that would be candidate for. Okay, the quadratic equation can be solved by factoring. So that would be a conclusion that this equation is solvable, meaning ma-solve siya through the use of factoring. Now, after that, you get this, unsa man ay term nga gigamit sa Kuiper da kanang murag depressed or the depressed equation. So, depressed equation meaning this one. Okay, you get the depressed equation, which is 2x. So, asa ni ako gikuha? This is the result of the testing kaganina, right? So, meaning 1 is your solution. Okay, accept na to. Then we're going to get the depressed equation. So, ang depressed equation niya is 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. So, muna ni siya ang nasa ubos. Okay. After that, since this is already factorable, okay? So, factorable man ni siya, pwede na nato makita ang other nga solution. Or kung gusto ninyo, i-repeat ninyo ang process or gamitan gyapon ninyo synthetic division and then i-test ninyo ni sulatanan, pwede gyapon na siya, pwede ra gyapon na siya. Okay? But if you notice, gigamit nato ni siya if ang polynomial is kanang taas na kay sa nga tanan or dako na kay iyahang highest degree. Okay, so maabot na siya 3, 4, 5. So this is the purpose of this theorem. Okay, so after you get the depressed, sa tawag ana siya, basta mo na siya depressed equation. Okay, depressed equation kay ning gamay naman ang iyahang degree. So mo na siya inyuhang murag other factor. Okay, so kung makuha na ninyo ni siya, and then you see that this is already quadratic equation and factorable ni siya, so you can factor this out now. Okay? So pag factor ani nga equation, kaning depressed nga equation, that would result to 2x minus 1, x plus 3. And then you can equate that one to 0 to get the value of x. So again, our solutions to this polynomial functions are, okay, so we have 1, 1/2, and -3. So you will notice if your highest degree is 3, okay, the maximum solution niya is also 3. Okay? Question. Kanang x kay mauna na ang final answer. Yes. Ang ato magipangita kay ayang solutions, right? So find the solutions. So when we say find the solutions, find the roots. So kung find the roots mo ni siya. Okay? So kana siya tong roots. Okay? So meaning ang kaning original nga polynomial function, kung imo nang i-factor, ang answer niya is x plus 1, x minus 1 rather. Okay. X minus 1, x, 2x minus 1, x minus 3. Diba? Kung imo ning kana siya, mo na yang factors. Okay. Makuha man gud nimo ang solution sa usa ka function if ma-factor na nimo siya. Okay? Kay makita man nimo ang roots. So ang roots niya kay 1. Okay? Sagay ng roots, kung equate nimo sa 0, balik ta ha, equate nimo sa 0 ang kani silang tulo. So, equate nimo na sila sa 0. So, may mo siyang x minus 1, x is equal to 1, and x is equal to 1/2, o x is equal to -3. Mo ni siya iyahang solution. Again, iyang solution rather is 1, 1/2, and -3. Kung i-plot na nimo sa graph, makita nimo ang behavior sa graph nga, okay. So, kani di ay siya nag-intersect ang graph dito sa x-axis sa -3. Okay, sa 1/2, o kung mao na siya ang 0, sa 1/2 o sa 1. So, 1, 2, 3. Ana day behavior sa graph, ana niya. Ana. So, makita na din nimo nga itsura sa graph. Amo din na iyahang graph. Okay. Okay, question. Okay, klaro? Again, I repeat the steps. Repeat na tong steps. Okay, how to get the possible solutions or roots first? Okay, get the leading coefficient and the constant. Get their factors. These are the candidates for the possible root. Okay, kung makakuha na kag isa ka possible solution or isa ka root using the factor or synthetic division, then you can use that one to get the other roots. Okay? Then, you can test that one if possible ba siya. Meaning, unsaon nimo pag-test? Imong gamit ang synthetic division. Kung ang iyang remainder is 0, that means it is a solution. Or it is a root. Okay. Okay. So, klaro ba na? Klaro ta ani? Okay, getting the possible rational roots. Okay, so that is what we are talking about later. Okay, don't mind this. Okay, don't mind the kanang sa pare-pareho na siya actually. Okay, let's have, what time is it? Lapas na kita. Oh my God. Okay. So, you can try this one. Okay, you can try the last example that I have given you. And then, for questions and clarifications, you just can contact me anytime. Okay, so make sure, last instruction, make sure to, I will upload this recorded video on how to get the possible roots or get the solution, or this one related to this one in your Google Classroom. So don't worry. Okay, so that you can maghatag pug ko og related nga video. Okay? Nga pwede ninyo mabalik-balik og tan-aw so that you can recall. Okay, thank you for extending your time. Yes, apil ang PowerPoint. Kani mismo nga recorded. This is recorded, so I will give you that one. Lingaw daw ang topic, challenging. Well, actually, kuan raman siya, sayo na ang grade 10, masayon ang grade 10 kaysa sa other nga level ninyo class. Kay na naman diri tanan ang inyuhang nakatunan. Medyo kuan lang yun siya, kuti. Kinahanglan yun mo mag-practice. Dili siya pwede tanawon lang ninyo. So, dapat mag-solve yun mo practice. Okay, thank you for that comment. Challenging daw. Lisod, lingaw siya pero challenging. Okay, so thank you for your time. Hope you visit your Clipper and you submit your activity. Okay, by that, let's say leave Jesus in our hearts. Okay, forever. Thank you for your time and goodbye everyone. See you next week.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.